Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a little sit down video. Because I'm sick, so I might sound a little bit different. I'm gonna have to cut out a lot of sniffing. I want to talk about my favorite parenting books, and I know this is kind of like a harder topic to talk about just because people's opinions are so strong one way or the other, or mom guilt and like all the things that come with parenting. I have gone back to the same books over and over and over again. One of the books I've read, like, I'm currently rereading it again, so I think I'm on my 7th time reading it. The first book I'm going to talk about is Raising Bébé. I'll put an image on the screen of what it looks like in the author because I never remember authors. I love that book. The food part is so good. Not demonizing any food, not raising kids on like one food group, how to develop their palates. I've always done their like method per se with my toddler, and she tries everything. She knows that it's just in our household that we try everything. You can spit it out. If she's really nervous about it, we count trying as like smelling sometimes, licking sometimes. There's just different ways to frame your mind around feeding your kid, and I love how much that book opened my eyes to that aspect and showed me a few different ways of doing it. I don't have too many quotes from that book because the biggest thing I loved is the cadre, which I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's essentially like firm foundations with flexibility around those. So I went ahead and used that idea and made my own parenting pillars, is what I call them, which I believe they also call them parenting pillars, and we work within those parenting pillars. So I'm not going to go into like mine specifically. The few things from Raising Bébé is the one ask rule. So say things once calmly and confidently, then wait, no repeating, nagging, or pleading. This is really beneficial with my toddler because I practiced it over and over and over and over again. I tried to ask her to do things one time, and then if she hasn't like grabbed her shoes and I'm like starting to head out the door, I ask her, did you grab your shoes? Instead of saying, go get your shoes, I am only going to ask her one time to do it, and then make statements if she hasn't done it. So for example, if she says, no, I didn't go grab my shoes, then I'll just say, you need your shoes because there could be a sharp rock on the sidewalk, or something that would have a natural consequence of her not having her shoes on, if that makes sense. And it's not just me telling her what to do. I'm trying to tell her, I'm trying to protect her. The last thing that I had written in my like little short thing of notes, which I can take a screenshot of these and I'll put at the end of the video if you guys want like a cleaned up version of my own notes for parenting. The quote I have is, say less, mean more. I try really hard to not talk so much at my toddler and listen to her and work with her and not against her, because I don't want her to feel like the things she contributes or says don't mean something in our family, and I want her to feel included in the family and not just like this kid in our house, if that makes sense. Like, she contributes, we care and value her like opinions and her wants and whatever, but we don't coddle her, if that makes sense, and we don't give her everything that she wants. The next book that I love this book. If you're a Christian, you will probably like this book as well, because when I was reading it, all I kept thinking was about this is how God views us, and the book is called Good Inside. I should probably start with that. And it really just helps you frame your mind on seeing kids as they actually are, which is just good. They don't come out of the womb like wanting to ruin your life or come out of the womb knowing how to manipulate you. But it's our job to teach them what is appropriate, what is respectful, and just stuff like that, because they don't actually know. Like, they're not however old you are. I have learned some things at the ripe age of 29, and it took me 29 years to learn it. So like, why would I expect my toddler to understand certain things that I just learned? It helps you reframe talking to your kids and thinking about your kids to remembering they've only been on this earth for 1 year. How would they know what you're wanting them to do? And how long did it take you to learn that skill, or like that trait, or empathy, or stuff like that? Do you still talk about people horribly? That means that you probably still haven't learned empathy. So it's a good reminder on kids are naturally good inside, and it's just helping them navigate the emotions that seem like they aren't, or like the actions versus how they actually are as a person are two very different things. That one's just really good in those like really stressful times. I mentioned in a previous video recently that we went through a really hard season with Tiny, transitioning and like almost like separation anxiety with my husband, and because that whole relationship has just been here and then gone and then only through a phone for a year, and it was a mess. But now we've got like a lot of coping skills in place that have helped substantially with those, as well as my husband and I have dialed in the remembering of the skills we've already read about and already tried to practice, and just reminded ourselves of those, because it is not my toddler's job to just like stop acting a certain way. It's our job as parents to change what we are doing to better help her, because it's not her job at like over 2 years old to know how to do that. So the things I have written down from Good Inside, that one's mostly about emotions, that like whole book, and how to work with different kinds of kids. So there's kids that like feel really deep about a lot of things and explode loudly, largely, physically. And then there's other types of kids that are more silent, but it talks about all the different kinds of kids, that how to like view and help their emotions, if that makes sense. So that one's a really good one to like pick through. More so, you don't even have to read the whole book. I would suggest reading the whole book, because it's helped me be able to help my toddler understand the other kids' emotions, if that makes sense. So that helps me like not get flabbergasted on like, well, what do I say about that? I already have the tools in place to explain to her their actions versus their emotions. Along the same lines, she talks about 2 things are true. That's like one of her biggest things, and that's acknowledge feelings while holding limits. So for example, you're mad and hitting isn't okay. So just some quotes I have saved from Good Inside are, children don't need perfect parents, they need present ones. I loved that quote because we live in a world where people are addicted to their phones, addicted to books, numbing out in different ways. To put that between you and your child to a point where, if you hear my husband working out, I'm so sorry. He's a grunter. They don't need a phone in between you and them. When you're so addicted to other things that your kids are asking politely but you don't hear it, and then they have to get louder and louder and yell, or they get like so frustrated that they start whining. I am guilty of this as well. Like, this isn't just something I'm saying. Then you get frustrated that they're whining and that they've like been annoying that day. These are my own thoughts. When in reality, I wasn't being present when she asked politely, or when she asked the first time where there was no whining or anything. And so that's just something my husband and I are very aware of, and try to really set aside technology out of our home to be present with our family while we have our family, if that makes sense. Because that sounds really dark, but I've had cancer twice. So like, I don't care about who's doing what on social media. I don't care about the latest TikTok dance. I don't care about all these things on social media. I don't care about the newest styles of clothes and whatever, the newest lunchbox. I don't care. What I care about is my family and how we live our life and how we treat each other and spending time with them in a way that we love, where we feel peace in our lives and our home feels peaceful, and that we just have like such respect for each other. And I know that's a lot deeper than what other people may feel or experience, but that's why I am so mindful of how I parent, because I only get to do this once. In all honesty, I only get to do it one time. And so it's like making me emotional. I won't be having any more kids. And so I'm trying to put as much intention and thought into raising the one that I have, so that the family that I get to have after being diagnosed twice, which was not supposed to happen, feels safe, and that in the end she will want to come home, but not in a like codependent way, just that she feels safe and loved here, and that our house can be like a refuge for her against the really loud world. And that's just what I want for her, as well as being like strong and ruthless and like not dependent on me and super independent, if that makes sense. The last book I want to talk about, oh, I love this book so much, which is why I've read it like 7 times, is Hunt Gather Parent. So this book, she goes around to different areas in the world and learns from really like ancient families where they're just older than the US. So some things I have written down are invite, don't command. So instead of clean up now, saying let's clean up together or let's help each other put these away. I do not say can you please pick this up, can you please go put on your shoes. That word was sliced out of my dictionary with parenting. Every single time you say can you, your kid is gonna say no. Okay, it is very few times a kid is gonna say yes to that, because you gave them a choice. So if you don't want them to have a choice, don't ask. And also along the same lines of inviting and not commanding are, I will willingly help her because I want her to willingly help me, unless I really truly cannot help her do something. But if I'm just like on my phone or making a grocery list or something, I can get off my phone and I can go help her do something. It's respect in both ways. So if you want respect with being helped with your things, they deserve the respect to be helped with their things when they truly feel like they cannot do it. Even if they feel like they can do it and just want help, we do that all the time. We ask our kids to go get a diaper for the other kid. We are more than capable of going and getting up off the floor and going to grab a diaper. We just would like help. And that's all our kids are asking for. They would just like help with certain things. And so I try to keep that in mind when I ask her, or say, hey, let's do this. And if she says no, I ignore it, because 99% of the time, the next time I say, hey, let's unload the dishes, she will come and help. Versus if she's forced to. This is like a whole psychology study. Like, this is proven in science and so many studies that they will become more willing to help. And especially since we point that attribute out in other people, like if we're at the grocery store or my husband does something that really helps our family or stuff like that, I will point that out and say, wow, that lady helped that guy reach up to grab that bottle or something in the grocery store. Something where you can see other people helping each other, and I make it a point to point that out to my toddler, because another thing that this book talks about is praise. I hate praise. I have very strong opinions on praise. If you read like any studies on praise, it is not good. I have not read one good study on praise for like anyone and anything. So like the whole ChatGPT thing where it only praises people, it's like, ugh, it's not good. Praise with kids is like 10 times worse. Sticker charts, all those types of things, that's a form of praise. It doesn't become intrinsic motivation, it's now extrinsic, and you want your kid to be motivated inside by their own accord to want to help people, because that's a good thing to do. And it is very, very rare that I praise my toddler. Even when she was learning how to climb things or climb up a ladder, I would say things like, you did that all by yourself. I would say statements, not praise. Like, I don't say good job. I don't say, what's other praise things? I don't know. That's like the biggest one. Parents just like spew out all the time is good job. Now my toddler yells like, I did it. And I'm like, you did. It's just amazing to watch her confidence build so much from herself and not from me. The whole praise thing, I just like, I can't. Especially on things that they should already know how to do or they've been doing forever. We don't need to say good job for that. We don't need to say good job for like eating with a fork when she's been doing it for a year. Another thing with that is give real jobs. So things actually are meaningful to our household. Sweeping, putting away dishes, rolling a ball of dough for a roll, and they can be pared down very, very small. She cuts mushrooms and I don't recut them, and I put them straight into whatever we're cooking so that she can see I contributed, I matter, what I do matters and helps my family. And that in itself is a replacement for praise, because she gets a sense of I matter. And that's what you're trying to do when you praise your kid, is say you're amazing, you matter, whatever it is. The other way teaches them deeper than that. Okay, I already kind of touched on this one, but the biggest one from Hunt Gather Parent is act like the person you want your child to be. If you want your child to be kind, you need to be kind. If you want your child to be polite, you need to be polite to them, to your husband or your partner, to your friends that you're talking to, in their presence, even out of their presence. The words you're saying, the things you're listening to out loud where your children can also hear them, your reactions to certain things. So like getting frustrated with your own situations that are coming up, like putting things down harder than you need to, or throwing something that you're frustrated with. Say you're frustrated with your phone and you like just throw it on the couch or something. Remembering the eyes are always on you and they will do exactly what you're doing. If you want your kid to be a certain way, you have to be that person, even if like you don't want to be that person sometimes. 2 quotes I have from that book are, if you want a child to act like an adult, treat them like one. A capable child is a happy child. That's one of my favorite quotes, because the more autonomy you can give them, the more skills you can help them learn, the more they will feel capable and less frustrated they will be. Because when you think about it, kids get like whiny and frustrated when they cannot do something. So the more time you put into like teaching them how to do it by themselves and giving them opportunities to practice, you have to give them opportunities to practice it by themselves. If you have kids, hopefully you find this video, I don't know, helpful, or maybe just like an idea of what those books are about. Again, I know that parenting is a very touchy subject, and I was like on the edge of doing this video, but I just love talking about it. I love trying different things like with my kid. I don't know, seeing how kids work and like how their brains are interpreting different things, trying to figure out their emotion. It's like a giant puzzle, and I really enjoy that. I just enjoy working backwards. It's a challenge and it's very hard, and sometimes just about kills me. For me, the more education I have, the better I'm able to handle situations and help her. And so hopefully one of these will help you, I guess, without having to read a book. And if you are not a parent or don't really care about parenting, or maybe you hate those books, I'm sorry. This was not a fun video for you to watch, but again, this is how we're doing it. And if other people do it differently, cool. As long as your kid is fed, not abused, and I guess not fed would be a form of abuse. Essentially, if you don't abuse your kid, like, they'll be fine, essentially. But these are just what we do. So, or things I try to keep in mind and things I refer back to frequently. Anyways, this video is very long. I'm gonna go ahead and put a screenshot at the end of this video, and if you did like this video, if you want to give it a thumbs up, that would be great. And just so like I know that it was okay to talk about this, I guess. But yeah, anyways, thanks for being here in my like little cozy corner of the internet, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.